I'm sure all of you know about what happened with the presidential debate. This is not political. I don't care who you vote for. I'm not taking a side here. This is simply body language and explaining some things that many people have questions about. So if you're ready, let's get going. All right, number one, let me get this out of the way because it's the quickest. Look at the wide eyes. This is what happens when you're desperately trying to take in as much information as possible. When you squeeze your eyes shut, you push the world out. When you are on the other end of the spectrum and you're trying to soak in as much information as possible so that you can say something articulate, you widen your eyes and you take in everything that you can from your surroundings. So if you watch the reruns of this debate, notice how sometimes he will lean in and his eyes will get really big and his mouth will open. It's because he's trying to take in as much information as possible to begin processing it. Now let's get into number two. This is the glitch. This is the big stuff that everyone is asking about. So watch this clip and I will interject what's happening.
Making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the dealing with.
All right, what is happening here? If you run a computer, this will make perfect sense to you. If you've ever had way too many windows open and too many processes happening at the same time, sometimes the processor itself in your computer will slow down. It'll bog down. It'll slow everything down. And if you start to close the windows and close the extra programs that you have open, so you have Photoshop or you have some type of a media player or something else, it's sucking up your RAM and it's also sucking up your processing speed. So it makes everything sluggish. So what happens is when you shut down those extra programs, all of a sudden your computer runs faster on the one program that you're trying to work on. Whenever you see somebody stutter and blink like this,
eligible for what I've been able.
This is cognitive overload. These are bunches of ideas going around in his head, but he needs to focus on one. And when there's extra activity, you have to shut down those windows. So when you close your eyes, and you do this and I do this, whenever something is overwhelming and you need to focus on one specific thing, you close your eyes. That's exactly what he's doing. He's shutting down the extra windows. He's closing the extra programs to focus specifically. The problem with this particular interchange, if you watch it back and it's all over the internet, he's getting an idea and he wants to get to it. So he thinks of exactly what he wants to say. So he wants to get to it, but he begins to speak. And as he's speaking the other things before he gets there, it's going pretty good. He feels like he's on a roll. So he continues speaking, but pretty soon he forgets what the main point was. And now he's stuck over here with the words that he just spoke, and he's trying to remember what the main point was. So there's a disconnect in between. So what does he do? He begins to shut down. This is cognitive overload. The last thing I want to look at here is the kind of wandering eye thing. Now, this is also very important because it has everything to do with what is happening with your executive functions in your brain. Watch this interchange and I'll explain to you what's happening.
He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world, they're pouring in.
All right, so you see him looking at Trump, and he's in disbelief because he knows he needs to say something here, but he doesn't know what to say. Now, more than likely, he knew what to say. He probably remembers that he was prepared for this, but now he has to remember what that memory is. In a nutshell, you store a memory like he probably did when he was cramming for this particular debate. You store that memory. Well, the hippocampus goes, okay, I know where that's at, but it hasn't been there a whole lot, so the trail leading to it is not very worn in yet. It's like when you see a horse that walks through a field. The hooves will push down the grass and it'll tramp down the grass, but it's not really a path yet. If you use that same path lots of times, the grass goes away and the bare soil exposes, and it's a path you can follow. Take this further. If you want, you can pave that and make a road out of it or a superhighway. The more often that you access a specific memory, the more entrenched that path gets. And because this is not something he thinks about all the time, there's not a paved road to that memory yet. So his hippocampus is trying to remember, I know it's there somewhere, but I can't find the path to it. And so what happens is he drops his head, he shuts off other things, and his eyes start to move back and forth. This is internal processing as he's trying to remember what to say. But he doesn't come up with anything. And that's why the only thing that pops out is something here about Medicare.
If we finally beat Medicare,
that has nothing to do with the original statement or question. Now, there's a lot more going on here, but I was trying to get this up as quickly as possible and make it as short as possible. I'm hoping that this is informative for you guys. And if you want more stuff like this, just let me know in the comment section. And if you guys are still here, do me a favor, click on one of these other videos, and I'll be back very soon, probably in a day or two with the next one. See you then.